guys, it's Scarlet here. I hope you're having a good week so far. I just wanted to do a fun little chatty video for you this morning. And the topic that I wanted to talk about is, I guess, kind of twofold. On the one hand, as someone who practices paganism and things like witchcraft, a lot of it is based upon your place, the place that you currently live in, interacting and working with, the nature around you, the spirits around you, the genius loci, as they might say. And a lot of people have grown up and lived in the same state or the same country, and they have had the experience of kind of growing up with a certain spiritual connection to a place. And a lot of other people, including myself, have moved around a lot. And that can be tricky sometimes when you think about, well, how do I connect with the energy and the nature of a place when I'm new to it, or when I don't necessarily have as much of a connection to it as someone who perhaps grew up and lived in the same area their entire life. And I've lived in, gosh, probably like 4 different states. I've lived in 4 different countries. Now I'm in Chicago, and I've been in Chicago for almost 6 years now. But it's been a process learning and interacting with Midwestern landscape, interacting and understanding the nature in the Midwest and how it's different than, you know, places I grew up and other places I lived. And sometimes I feel like it's almost, there's something missing or something lacking because I live in a place that I haven't had as long a connection with. And to me, when it comes to paganism, a huge part of it is living with the seasons, living with the nature, eating seasonally, living seasonally, interacting with the spiritual essence of a place. And I wondered, and I'd love to hear more about this in the comments from fellow pagans or just other spiritual seekers out there, how you define place or location within your spiritual practice. Are you someone that has lived in a certain place and really has a deep connection and understanding of the spiritual essence of that place, of the plant life and of the animals of that area? Or are you like me, who has moved around a lot and has had to relearn kind of each time? And that's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately. And then the other aspect of it that I've been thinking about is the idea of heritage and ancestry when it comes to pagan practice. And there's been a lot of back and forth, I think, in the pagan community about where that fits in. So my personal belief is that you don't necessarily need to practice the branch of paganism based upon where your ancestors came from. And this is more of like a American conundrum than necessarily people in Europe who their ancestors and, you know, have lived in the same country for a while. But for us Americans, we're a big hodgepodge of different histories, of different heritage. And I recently did my 23andMe test, which is like one of those genetic tests, and it was really fun. I didn't really know what I was gonna get. I got mostly British plus some Scandinavian, which is pretty much what I expected. But to me, I wonder, does that mean for me that I should focus more of my spiritual energy on connecting with the spirits, with the history, with the lore, the mythology of Britain and Scandinavia? And would it somehow be more powerful and meaningful if I choose that route versus a route that I don't have any ancestral connection to? And a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but some people's personal spiritual practice involves connecting with their ancestors. And I think that's really powerful and really amazing. And there's been so much controversy, unfortunately, lately about that, where I feel like some people are taking it too far. And this has been a problem within some ANCESTRY communities. And I mentioned this in a previous video, where they kind of feel like specifically heathenism or ANCESTRY's belief in the Scandinavian gods is only meant for those with that descent. That the heritage is an important component of the spiritual practice. And then there are plenty of other people in the community who don't necessarily think that. But I know that's been a tense issue lately, and an issue that I've just been thinking a lot about, because personally I'm pretty open. I think you should be able to follow any path that you personally connect with, regardless of what your heritage or ancestry is. But at the same time, I'm still excited that I do know what my ancestry is now, so that I do have this extra meaning to it when I study runes, when I read the Poetic Edda and stuff like that. And for Britain, you know, I'm gonna have a greater connection when I visit someday, because I really want to go to Scotland and see some of the sacred stone circles and Pictish stones and stuff like that. So I know that I'm gonna have a bit of a stronger connection to it now, and it will be more meaningful to me than perhaps it was before I found out, you know, where my ancestry was. And these are just some thoughts and things I've been thinking about, both the idea of, as a pagan, what does ancestry and heritage mean within that space, and is it important to connect back in with that, or connect with that through your spiritual practice on the one hand, and then the other aspect of place, of location, of connecting with where you live, connecting with the spiritual essence of a physical place that you belong. And as someone who really doesn't feel a belonging to one particular place, because I've moved so many times in my life, and as one who doesn't really feel a belonging to a specific type of heritage, because, you know, I'm American, so I'm a mutt, I'm come from everywhere, I wonder how my experience with paganism might be different from someone who, say, you know, grew up in the same English town their entire life, and their ancestry is English as far back as they know. How their experience and connection to that location, that place spiritually, if that's somehow going to be more profound and more a more bigger part of their life perhaps than my own, just because I've been so many different places, and that's been wonderful, and it's been an experience I wouldn't give up. But at the same time, sometimes I wish that I had this deep connection to a certain place. But this was just a quick little chatty video for you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you've done a genetic test or anything like that before, I'd love to know below in the comments. And I'd also love to know what your thoughts are, if you are a fellow pagan, on connecting with your genetic ancestry, and also connecting with a physical place, the place that you've lived in, and how that informs your own personal spiritual practice. So sorry if this is a bit of a ramble. I didn't have too much prepared, just some ideas and thoughts that I had this morning, and I wanted to share with you guys, with the community, so I could hear from you, your ideas and your perspectives. So I hope you all are having a good day so far, and I'll chat with y'all a little bit later. Bye.